What is up? This is the Keyholing podcast, Keyholing with Lemon. This week I have a meme legend in the gun and 3D2A gun space. That would be Trash. Welcome, Trash. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. We actually had a fun Saturday a couple of weeks ago. We went to a gun show. So we're going to talk about the anatomy of a gun show. I've got lots of questions from people who maybe don't have that many in their state, maybe like a couple a year, or maybe don't have any in their state or country. And kind of talk about like what we went into expecting to see, what we went into it expecting to see, what we saw, things we liked, things we suggest you should look out for, and kind of go from there. What we've seen in the past, something I've really seen often, and we saw this time, the classic silly patches, the Timu patches and bracelets and every slop you can possibly think of. Every form of slop does exist there.
Pretty much, yeah. It was it wasn't as sloppy as I expected it to be, honestly. There's the lack of like the super conservative stuff. Like I didn't, like we said, we didn't see a stand selling, nothing but Trump or Let's Go Brandon flags or whatever the fuck the newest, MAGA trend thing is. But I didn't see some guy selling nothing but Bibles or handing out tracts or, nothing but scripture engraved weapons somewhere like that. There was a big lack of it. It was pretty nice. I was surprised, especially for where we are.
No, definitely. We're on like I would say like south, but like deep Bible Belt area, completely free state as far as guns goes. Well, as free as you get in any state as far as gun goes. However, we did see the first booth when we walk in the main entrance, Hitler stamps, baby. We have Hitler stamps, Hitler pictures, the Nazi helmets. That's the something.
Hitler youth knives,
yeah. I think that's something you're gonna see at any gun show. So if that bothers you, I mean, just get over it, because it is historical, but you're just going to see it at every gun show, unfortunately. Like, that's just what it is.
Yeah, and you're never going to convince those guys that it's like a racist thing either. They're always going to stick to it's history, which, you can't argue it, but...
No, I think it's fair, but it's kind of like a numbers game. Like, if you have a couple things, it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting historically, that's interesting from a gun perspective, but once you get into, like, a little shrine level, then it's like, oh, okay, you're a weirdo Nazi.
Yeah, I will give it to that guy though. He had like an assortment of World War II era
100%
cutlery,
and it wasn't just Germany. He had some French stuff, some English stuff, a few Japanese things, a ton of American stuff. Same booth we saw an awesome Marine cleaver, dude. That was calling your name.
Dude, I know. Yeah, I was gonna bring that one up. It was sick. I really wish I'd picked that up. Oh, that's one of those things where, like, unless you're really into it, it's kind of, you don't really just start a knife collection out of nowhere like that. At least I don't.
No, same. And it's like, I think knives are cool, but that's kind of where it ends for me. But if you are a knife person, like, there was tons of booths with handmade knives at really great prices, honestly. Like, we're talking $250 and under for one-of-one handmade knives. Very cool. Oftentimes, you're going to be buying from the person that made them. But again, so many Chinesium knives, which were cool. The Minions knife almost got me.
Keeping somebody out of heaven with that one.
Yeah. Hey, the One Punch Man one was sick, though. So we're just recording this episode. There's no visuals. But it was a One Punch Man handle, and then his fist was punching onto the blade. So sick.
Yeah, it was pretty rad. I'm a sucker for the anime stuff, but that's, if I'm getting that stuff, it's got to be legit.
Yeah, no, definitely. And this would be ordering from Temu. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. This is. You can get that one at the gas station, I'm sure.
no, definitely, definitely. A lot of gas station stuff. I think that's a good phrase for it. Gas station wares, like the keychains, the hats, some of the goofy hats. Another thing I really didn't see that I've seen in the past was the like warrior operator culture type stuff, as far as like the Spartan magwells and the skull magwells, the skull uppers, like that type of gritty Punisher level stuff. Really didn't see much of that either.
You're right. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see a whole lot of like the Templar stuff. Very little, if any, 3%er stuff.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't see any, I don't think. Which
Yeah.
I can't stress enough. 10 years ago, that was maybe 50% of the show. At least had some stuff at their booth. Like we're talking 3%, or you mentioned the Templar, the cross cut out lower, the one style of people who have seen the picture of Donald Trump Jr. holding one, that type of thing, and really none of it, which was kind of surprising. So, to you, does that signal it's on its way out, and it's being replaced by this more tactical version with the accessories, overloaded accessories? You got the light, things like that on there, or do you think it's just like it was just a trend and that trend has died?
That's a tough one. I think it'll come back. I think with a little bit more, little war patriotism and maybe some impending doom or nationwide tragedies, stuff like that will definitely be pushed back because it'll sell. I think that's kind of a timeless trend, if you will. I don't know. That's kind of weird because it's one of those political tie-in things where it's kind of almost based off of, popularity polls at this point. Like the more popular Trump is, the more of his merch you're going to see. The less appealing things are, the less you're going to see it. I feel like where we are, it's kind of a Trump bastion. So.
Yeah, for reference, like we were 20 minutes from where I grew up, and that was the reddest county for Trump in 2020 and probably 2024. So, like in the country. So, when you think about that, it is really interesting how the conservative aspect has turned against war right now, which is good in my opinion. War fucking sucks. It's awful. People cheering for it are fucking stupid. They don't know what they're cheering for. Or they do and they're evil. But war is awful. And the tide really shifted, and Trump paraded around as the peace president, right? And so...
No new wars.
No new wars. And he's going to end wars. And... it's really interesting when you look at that because there was barely any Trump stuff. I was shocked at the little amount of Trump stuff.
Yeah, it was. I didn't see. I might have seen a few pistols, maybe a rifle or two with minimal Trump stuff on it, and the rest was like commemorative Americana type stuff where it was like he was just there because he was also a president. So it was odd.
No,
And muted
definitely.
for the area for sure.
Definitely. And I don't think any of it was local either. Like I think all that we saw, the few things that we saw were that like Chinesium gas station style of,
Yeah.
or the like just retail slop style of rifle, knife, things of that nature.
Yeah, I don't think any of that was like homemade stuff or, home produced locally.
One of the few Trump things I did see, and I saw quite a bit of this, which this always has been adjacent to the gun space, excuse me, in the prepper space, the gold and silver.
Oh yeah.
So I saw Trump gold silver, of course, but that's like all they always put presidents on that type of stuff. Quite a few coins, and I'm talking like some booths were solely gold and silver. I did see a Pikachu gold coin. I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't see that. It's awesome.
I saw a Pikachu gold coin. But it kind of, again, it's interesting to talk about this from a political perspective because I talked to Eric the Swiss about gun shows in Switzerland, and he was explaining that it's not political at all or like largely just like basic pro-gun politics. There's like one lobbying group essentially. And due to the size of the United States, you have these sects within states, but also like even within communities, like in states, there like it divides down so far to where there's these strange rivalries and things of that nature. And it's so interesting to think about and compare that because even at what we considered a relatively apolitical show, there was still quite a few flags, tons of flag stuff. You're right about the patriotism. Patriotism, as always, is going to be like a big political tie-in to gun shows, and it's just interesting to think about that juxtaposition in the U.S. versus the rest of the world.
Yeah, I can see how Switzerland wouldn't have as much of a politically, divisive culture surrounding guns. I mean, they're like you pointed out, they're simply not as big as us, and that's kind of the root of most of our problems, I think, because we're such a melting pot. Everybody's got their own ideals, and within those ideals are, more specific ideals for certain things or places or whatever. We saw it in, Boog stuff and Republican stuff and Democratic stuff. Like everybody's got their own little cliques within cliques that, kind of sometimes wildly differ from the main kind of ideology, if you will, of what things are supposed to be. So I don't think that's ever going to leave our guns, our shows. I think it's all going to be almost a recruitment center at the same time.
Oh, definitely. And I think
you're always going to see NRA guys trying to like pull you in, or FPC trying to pull you in.
Oh, definitely. The concealed carry insurance is always going to be trying to sell you there. This one guy repeatedly asked if you were a veteran. I almost sold you out, but I didn't know if you would have given me a ride home if I had done that.
No, we would have. I would have just told the guy to fuck off. I don't. Anything where you lead where like it's veteran specific, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. It's always such a placating thing to do.
Well, also they're almost always trying to take advantage of you and fuck you in a way.
Yeah, 100%.
There's not many organizations, aside from maybe a few, that actually at their core care about veterans, help veterans. Most of it is just garbage, like the SDI type stuff, where it's targeting you and not actually helping you in a way to which you will be helpful to society or
it's all
progress as a person.
It's all a gimmick. Like I said, I don't even say I'm a veteran on Veterans Day for free IHOP or Applebee's or whatever the fuck it is. I'm not going to do it for some random asshole trying to sell me something in a gun show.
We did see quite a few deals on some strange stuff. If you're 3D printing a build and it's one of those that a mag is $80 on Gunbroker, or you can't find any even potentially. This is the place to go, and there were some really reasonable prices.
Yeah, that was a surprising point. Gun shows aren't known for their deals, but those mags were a decent price. I mean, they weren't Glock brand, but they're functional 45 mags and they're extendos. So
Oh yeah, well, tell the people what you got them for.
what was that for? I think they were $22 each, so it ended up being like $45 with tax for two. What is it? I think they're 26 round 45 ACP. Metal feed lip, double stack mags.
Essentially, buy one get one free from some places online if they're in stock. A lot of times, the 45 are out of stock completely.
Yeah, they're tough to find. Most of your your 45 carbines and stuff are Glock mag compatible these days just because they're so widely available, but also they're not exactly cheap. I mean, they're good, but if you're not looking for specifically Glock mags, ETS sucks and still charges you a decent amount for.
Oh, they're still like, if you're buying ETS retail, you're paying 25 or 30 a piece even. Well, and it tells the people you actually got these for a specific carbine.
Yeah, I got them for the Ruger LC carbine in 45. Like I said, it takes Glock mags. Still haven't shot it. I'm taking it out this week, so we'll check it out in Georgia over the weekend. But it should be fun. Compatible with Glock mags, SGM tactical, and I imagine there's some Magwell adapters or something that I can put in to make them compatible with others. It's Ruger. They freaking make 1,000 different attachments and versions of every platform they put out.
Oh, 100%. And the 3D printing nerds contribute to that as well.
Yeah, heavily. So I haven't had that. I need to check that out and see if there's any compatible STLs for that.
Some more strange stuff there was good deals on. We passed up a crazy deal on some Weatherby shotguns.
Unfortunately.
We were responsible. We probably maybe could have got them, but it was a package deal. It was going to be 2 for $750. They were listed at $500. He said both of them for $750. We thought long and hard. We were individually doing the math in our heads. We were coming together, and I just don't shoot shotguns that much.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm always reaching for something else, and it would have probably been a safe queen, and I don't really like that. It's like if you have a gun, shoot it. But that shows kind of what we talked about. There are some great deals, especially once you get to talking to people. A lot of these are older people who love negotiating on stuff, who go to car dealerships and try and negotiate still. They love just even talking to you. Like, if you talk to them and bullshit, you may get some off of a gun, like, very reasonably.
Yeah, those guys were, he was pretty desperate to get rid of those, it seemed.
Well, definitely, and something else, you don't know how long they've been holding on to anything, you know?
Yeah, those were like 2024 versions of the state turkey hunt or whatever the heck it was. They were gorgeous, don't get me wrong. One was a 20, one was a 12. And, I mean, I would have loved to have it. It would have been... But that, like you said, it would have been a safe queen. I'm not going to take that thing out, on a Saturday with the boys to chuck some clays at it. I've got a Mossberg I can do that with just fine. So it would have been a great buy. It was a beautiful weapon. Both of them were, but I don't need to just have a shotgun just to have it because it's pretty. As much as I would love to be able to do that, my balls don't hang that low yet. I'm not. My pockets aren't that deep.
Yeah, no, I need to get my money up, not my funny up. But it is interesting to see, like, that there are so many deals. If you're interested in anything, like, we saw a matching number Garen for... It was like 600. Now it was like beat to death, but
yeah.
I mean, like, if you're looking for pretty much anything, like, it's worth going because, especially if it's a larger one, Because you don't know. Like, it's that intrigue of you don't know what you're going to find.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go there looking for an AR.
No, not that. Not anything retail. Well, we can, like, talk about that a little bit. Like, anything you can buy retail that's new there, like the P365. We saw some crazy prices on those. ARs, it's all going to be overpriced, like priced to hell.
Yeah. Yeah. That I wouldn't buy anything on a modern. If you're looking for historic stuff or, collection stuff, go for it. Because you can haggle with those guys on stuff they've had for, like 20, 30 years or something like that.
And they appreciate the history of it as well. They love talking about the history of guns, the history of knives, all that bullshit.
Oh, yeah, there's old timers will talk your ear off.
We did have to politely step away a couple times because we got too deep into a couple conversations. That's how much they enjoy talking.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't mind the old guys. I like doing that stuff. It's fun to hear them jaw at you for a while. But if you're going for deals, go on the last couple of days. Figure out how long it's going on.
Definitely.
See what you get.
Definitely.
Let the guys get a little bit desperate, but because for that first day or so, those guys are going to be charging arm and a leg for everything they can get. That's their retirement.
And something we did see that I hadn't seen before, I had like kind of seen online some, but I hadn't seen it in person at a gun show, is there was a nice little PSA setup where, similar to the PSA online, they had separate slides, separate lowers, and in the Rock 5.7 as well, where you could like build them and make your own little cute thing. And the prices weren't ridiculous either.
No, you definitely got hit with a convenience fee on those, but I mean, that is what it is. I can't hate on the guy for that. He's stocking everything for you to have almost instant access to. But yeah, it wasn't crazy, and it was a cool little thing. It was like kind of like a McDonald's a la carte mix and match deal where pick your barrel, pick your slide, pick your lower. Column A costs this much, column B costs that much. It was pretty cool. It's innovative. I haven't seen that before in like that, like you said, that e-commerce kind of set up in a IRL location.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, like the mix and match the meal deal, that's exactly what it felt like. And to be like, if you're a first-time gun owner or you just want an extra pistol to shoot or you want a pistol to give somebody, like that's so fun to be able to pick it out, right? Like to make it your own, which is not an experience normally you have at a gun show.
No, absolutely. Usually you're stuck, waiting 3 weeks for PSA to send out your stuff and then doing all that. I think that's a cool little way to do something if you're, especially if you're already familiar with the platform, you already have a dagger and you want a new one, or you want to play with the Rock 5.7 because it's basically a dagger. It's a really cool option to have.
And speaking of cool little things, tons of little 3D printed trinkets. Total 3D printed Dragon supremacy at this point. And some of them were actually pretty good quality, though.
Some that one vendor had pretty decent quality. I didn't look under to see what his support settings were like, but it was pretty decent. He had his ironing on. The other guy did not.
Yeah, he was even using the textured PEI plate on the. You can see it on the bottom. It very interesting to see that many, and I understand you can do it in bulk. There's large areas, and I actually posted this on Twitter. Large tables of them. I posted this on Twitter, and some people actually came and said, "This is what I did at my local gun show to raise money to build more 3D printed guns." So an interesting perspective to look at in this hustling grind set culture.
Yeah, that's I wouldn't have thought of that. That's a different perspective that I hadn't considered actually. It's cool. Like, my old man's retired. He's at that point where he's like asking about clearing out some sheds so he can have a little 3D printer farm just to have something to do. So that's more or less what I assume when I see, a 3D a 3D trinket stand in a gun show. It's probably some 70-year-old who's funding his collection addiction. But I mean, if there's guys that are doing it like us, I'm all for it. I think that's cool.
Definitely. And I would love to see, none of the trinkets were gun related though. I would love to see, and like for example, Yeezy, who also sponsors this channel, go to Yeezy Prints and use my link. Tons of cool stuff. Would love to see little glowing keychains at a show.
That would be cool as fuck.
Like little Mac Daddies would be fun. Little DB Alloys. So many, like little FGC 9s, obviously, would be so fun to see. But of all the 3D printed stuff, none of it was gun related, which was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna go the mini, 3D 2A route, at that point you kind of have to like resin print some frames or something, just to show off. Put some parts in it, show it off, explain to these guys how it works, what goes on. You're in for the long haul if you're gonna do it like that. I feel like. Which is cool. Somebody should definitely do that.
Most definitely. And I think people would, nothing like spreading the good word, right? I think people would really enjoy that. I think that is the way you're going to get non-gun owners or even gun owners that don't know about 3D printing more interested, as opposed to a dragon that they can get at any of their slop craft fairs.
Yeah. You see those things at flea markets. You can still do dragons and butterflies and ninja stars or whatever the hell else you want to do, but I feel like there is a kind of a niche for somebody who wants to go in and really kind of do a 3D education / vendor booth or something like that at some of these places. And, every show is going to be different, but
I haven't seen that anyone post that either, though. If you have, please tag me. I would love to share it. I haven't seen anyone post that though. Have you? Have you seen anyone like giving out like those type of keychains or selling those type of little models at a show?
I don't see much 3D 2A outside of the designated communities. In all honesty, like there's not much public discourse about it unless your random guy at the range who comes over and asks you about whatever it is you're shooting. That's your predominant opportunity. That's the lane everybody takes. I don't think I've ever seen any type of shot show, maybe, but outside of that, I don't think anybody's had any type of 3D 2A presence that's public facing in any way.
Which is interesting. Maybe that's something people should look into. I even talked to you about it. It was super reasonable to potentially do a weekend in the future. The table was $50 for the weekend. And, I mean, I get it. Like, it's a smaller table, but you don't need a huge setup. I think that'd be super fun to do potentially in the future. And I suggest people look into it. As far as spreading the word and things like that, seems like a low-cost way to get as many eyes on it, many gun owner eyes, many people interested in buying guns or making guns, get those eyes onto it as possible.
Yeah. I mean, 90% of the 3D 2A guys I know love arguing about how 3D 2A is viable. And if you want to argue, the fudds are going to be out in force at a gun show, so go have at it. Target-rich environment.
That's a great point. We love trolling fudds. I say we colloquially. It's all of us. Essentially love trolling fudds. You control IRL here. Talk about some fudds. You will get so many fudds. Some posters that say this gun won't blow up would be funny. Some things of that nature. Did you see the 3D printing clone booth? It was a lady. It was at the back left. I took a picture of this and I'm going to read it. But did you see the 3D printed booth of actual accessories?
No, I don't think I noticed that.
Okay, so they had some Baofeng radios. It was an old lady interestingly. I don't know if she was there for her partner or child or anything of that nature. But it's a sign that says, look, 3D printed clones for around half the price. We've got some flash hiders here. We've got some stock pads. We've got some stocks themselves. More flash hiders, more flash hiders. So kind of interesting, and something that I definitely expect to see more of in the future. As belts tighten, as the dollar continues to be worth less and less, and people are really need money, I totally see this being not only viable, but like a dominator in the future. Like, people don't have the disposable income for hundreds of dollars of flash hiders. Or the disposable income for the fancy stock, right? But they do have it for half that, or making it themselves.
Yeah, I think making it themselves is going to be more and more common. I think, if somebody starts doing, I wouldn't be surprised to see half of Laugh's, catalog out there by some guy that printed it all out in coax and is, priced it, pretty generously. I'm sure they'll be pretty proud of it, but I don't think it'll be as cheap because it'll be nice. But I don't know if, mom and pop are going to start making AFGs and vertical grips for every gun show. I don't see the durability in it, because let's face it, some of that stuff just isn't as tough as your traditional.
For sure. My argument would be that a lot of the people buying that type of stuff don't actually shoot their guns that much. Like, I think people in general, like, don't shoot their guns as much as they say or, like, post. Like, I have tons of friends in the gun community, and I could name maybe 10 that shoot as much as, like, people probably, like, quote, should or project that they do online. There's not that many that are, like, going through to tear it up. But you're right in the way that a lot of the prints people do are dog shit and won't stand up to anything.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think you'll see those guys that are doing really nice, legit stuff, and they're going to price it appropriately. And then you're going to see a bunch of, Timmies out there making junk out of regular PLA that, has terrible settings and Z-banding all over it. And maybe they have some crazy colors and half of it's probably made out of PLA silk. So it looks cool when it's sitting there in the bin or whatever. And they'll sell some of that stuff. And that'll always be there. The anodized crap and the crazy color stuff will always be there. But like I said, I don't think it's gonna overtake anything in comparison.
No, definitely. I think grips are an interesting point. You kind of briefly mentioned that to start at, because, for example, like, if you're doing, like, some of the nylons, you can dye some of them. So, like, if you're doing that, like, now they are more expensive, things like that, like, you can potentially, like, corner that, like, people that want a cool color market. And people, like, if you've got your settings dialed in, now again, it's nylon, it's hard, and you're taking the risk of prints failing because that costs a lot of money at that point. Like, it could be very interesting to see that as that develops, because I think the quote-unquote normies would really enjoy a lot of those things.
Oh yeah, I think if you're going to be kind of in that, where if you're going to try and really profit off that, it's more about volume than anything. So I don't know exactly how much you'd have to price it at to kick a profit on nylon prints and stuff like that.
Or what states you could do this in, by the way, because grips are regulated in some states now.
Are they really?
And have
Jeez.
been. Yeah, a lot of the legislation is wording it any gun accessory. So anything that can go on a gun, or is it like an optic, a light, anything like that? Which to me, like there are some questionable ones as far as like, okay, like does this go on a gun? But a grip like is for a gun specifically. I feel like states,
Yeah.
and I mean some have already like the California grips are a joke where you have to have the weird fin for the AR.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to do that, e-commerce is probably going to be your main source of income there, and bounce around to whatever shows you want as supplemental income. That's not going to be your bread and butter in terms of profit, but
And to spread the good word, we saw tons of people. I wore my Yeezy catalog shirt again. Use the link; it'll be below this video, or in this like the podcast details. And so many people, I say so many, maybe half a dozen, actually engaged with me and were like, "Wow, I really like this. This is cool and fun." An old lady started laughing hysterically. She thought it was awesome. So in the end, like regardless of all this politics and stuff, the feeling was mostly like pro gun. Like it was not a 3D gun friendly, or I don't want to say that. It was not a 3D gun aware space, right? These are people who have probably never seen a 3D printed gun, or if they have, it's been like maybe a Hoffman video or something in shorts, and they were really receptive. It's the catalog shirt that says, "I'm normal and can be trusted with 3D printing guns at thecatalog.com," blah blah blah, and such a cool little piece to get people talking, and the engagement was actually really good. I was kind of surprised by that. I felt like it made me happy to see people not traditionally associated with 3D printed guns, like an old lady enjoyed it, and that meant a lot to me.
yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I don't think people are as hostile. I don't think people in the gun community are as hostile against 3D2A as I think it's kind of made out to be to a point.
I think the most annoying ones are the loudest, if that makes sense. Like I think there are FUDs that are loud and annoying about it, and those are just the ones we see because they're loud and annoying about it.
Yeah, I mean, and most of these people are terminally online, or have some large online presence to where you don't see these. These aren't your everyday people. Most people that like guns will like it just because it's a gun. They don't care. They're more than happy to not tell the government about whatever. And if they think it's viable or not, obviously it doesn't matter because we know the facts here. But none of them are as immediately dismissive as the loudest ones are, like you said.
No, definitely. And we talk about like viability and like customization. Like even if they don't necessarily think it's viable, a lot of guns there aren't for shooting. Most of the guns there aren't for shooting. Like a lot of the guns there that were sold and purchased are gonna just go in a safe, maybe shot a couple times. Are talking pieces, are historical pieces. We saw a World War I grenade launcher, so fucking sick, just absolutely rocks. But you can't shoot it, right? Like, so there is, I think, like a space that in the gun show and general gun community that really appreciates guns that necessarily like they don't really care about the viability that much. It's more of this is a gun and it's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Most of them are just the same as us. They're just gun nerds. They don't care as long as it's a gun. It can be weird. It can be goofy. It can be stupid. It doesn't matter. It's a gun.
Exactly. Now, there was one horror, and that's going to be on the cover. It's going to be deep fried because I deep fry the covers for these episodes. But we saw an AI overview taped onto a shotgun. And it was a very old guy at the spot, and he had a few. I'm sure he's had them for a while. But that kind of stressed me out a little bit. It made me feel like there's a Michael Irvin clip where he's like, "We're losing recipes." It made me feel like we're losing some recipes. A Stevens 520, just with the AI overview cut out and taped on the stock. I'm looking at it right here. Do you expect that to grow in the future? Do you expect us to see more of that?
For the next probably 15 years or so, yeah. The older generations are big into using AI for, if they can use it, they're going to use it for everything possible. I think once, as those people pass on and, our generation starts filling those roles or I guess at least my generation starts filling that role as the old guys at the gun shows, you'll see less and less of it. Hopefully, I don't know if hating AI is as much of a millennial thing as I hope it is. But once whatever generation hates AI, once y'all start taking over, it's gone again. I just think it's one of those technological fads. I hate it.
I think so too, and I think it'll be. I don't think it gains much. Like, I think it will be like around and obviously like prevalent, but I don't think it like really gains super prominence because these old guys do love talking about the guns and knowing everything about them. For the most part, like gun owners and sellers love yapping. They love yapping about guns. That's me included. I've loved yapping when I recorded with Uber Clay, Prince in the Revolution. We literally were talking for 5 hours. My wife had to come and check on me, and so just bullshitting. And the guys if you go in when it's opening and talk to everyone and legit bullshit with everyone, you would still be doing that when the show closes. There are so many people who love talking about guns. And so I think to them, the AI overview is almost kind of cheating in a way, as far as taking that yapping away from them.
Yeah. I think we only saw it at that one, or at least I only noticed it at that one booth.
It was a horde, but we did only see it once, and we walked around multiple places. We we hit the whole thing and scraped by a couple, 2 or 3 or even 4 times. That was the only one I saw. So it was one, to be fair.
Yeah, and I feel like that guy probably did that just because he was sick of talking about those specific guns. I'm sure they got picked up and asked about a lot from a lot of people who had no intention of buying it or couldn't afford it, which is, pretty much where I was with them. So that kind of saved him. Whatever, that guy was a dealer. He wasn't your typical, John, every old man selling his 12 guns.
Definitely, and there is a pretty big distinction to make there. I'm glad you bring that up. There is dealers, so there's corporate dealers who have like their local gun store, basically some inventory out, and retail everything, priced it crazy. Then there's dealers who deal in a lot of the old stuff, who have large tables, multiple tables, a ton of stuff spread across. And then there's your individuals, right, that have a table of 12, 15, maybe even 20 guns, smaller ones sometimes, that are much more willing to do deals with you, are much more willing to trade, are going to be much more interested in talking to you about the guns.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah, not everybody's there to talk. Some of those guys are literally just on the clock salespeople, and that's all they care about.
No, definitely, and I think that AI fits perfectly in that demographic. But largely, I don't think AI ever really gets to the guys that have one table that'll just love to talk. Which is good. And again, we only did see it once. One thing I want to close on here is we are online too much, objectively. You
Yeah,
and I.
100%. Absolutely.
And we found a local gun dealer that makes ARs in 5.56 and 300 blackout that are just beautiful quality. The Cerakote colors are amazing. They
Yeah.
feel great. The tolerances are ridiculous. And I highly suggest people go, if any. It costs less than a movie. It costs less than a movie ticket to get into the gun show. And we learned about a company we wouldn't have known about otherwise. That's an hour away.
Yeah, which is kind of criminal in itself.
It really is. We are online too much. We'd never seen an ad. We'd never seen a video. We'd never seen a post. Anything. And
Right.
we come up the guns from this company are now on our personal list to buy. Like I literally added it to my iPhone note. I showed my wife. I'm like, this is on the list because of locality. Buying local is very important to me. Quality and supporting things like this. Like, I don't want every gun to come from PSA, right? Or
Yeah.
from Smith and Wesson. Like, it is so cool seeing local vendors that we had no idea existed.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's so much. I mean, everybody's online too much at this point. It's their fault for not being online too much at this point. They they made a big mistake not expanding their, or they're making one currently by not expanding their social media. But it's, yeah, it's kind of crazy. They have a whole entire factory that's only an hour away from us.
And we had no idea.
No, obviously it's not some huge Ruger plant or something like that.
Yeah,
but
it's not
still.
BCM or anything, but I mean, still, like, it's, and these were affordable, by the way. I got some pushback from a couple buddies and friends being like, "That's too expensive." It is what it is. We're talking the whole rifle with optic and can for under like 3,000, which, I mean, the quality, I can't stress how good it was. So if you're going to a show, like, be sure to check out these booths. Be sure, like, find local. And I'm not, this isn't going to happen every time, right? But find local dealers. Like, find local people making guns. Share them. Like, I've shared the good word to so many people already and showed the pictures. People have thought, like, wow, that's so cool. And that's how gun ownership as a whole grows, is building these local things up so every experience isn't adding it to your PSA cart, going and paying $50 at an FFL and picking it up.
Yeah. I mean, it's within our interest that these guys are successful locally. If nothing else, just to maintain a heavier 2A presence, which we don't really. We don't typically need. We're not short of that, but it is nice to have a local manufacturer. They have a lifetime warranty, and yeah, those tolerances were insane. It's not going to work with any other rifle. You can't part that one and Frankenstein it with some other lower. But I mean, good Lord, that was like laser cut. I don't even know how tight they made that. It was insane.
Absurd level of precision. Just absurd.
It was like microns of separation between the upper and the lower, which was ridiculous.
You couldn't shine a light through it. It was ridiculous, and it's so cool. And I want to learn more about these. People, go to your gun shows, share them with us. One thing, gun owners in general, and us too particularly, and people, our friends, the people we interact with online, love seeing is new cool guns we haven't seen before, from new vendors. Like, generally, like, we kind of talked a bit about it, about the people being scared of the gun space. The gun space is so welcoming to new stuff that's actually innovative and cool.
Yeah, just look at Keltec. They're still around. We love them.
We dropped multiple comments about funny Keltec stuff we saw, and about how much we enjoyed it, like when we were walking around talking.
Yeah, I mean, they're legitimately popular for being innovative. Nobody's going to say they're boring.
No, exactly. And there's this idea that it's like, and this wasn't like, this was fairly quote unquote Gucci, but there's this idea that new products have to be tactical and hyper specific to operators, but I think it could be further from the truth. We saw the cool things we liked were no one would have in or on their kit. Like it's really interesting to see that dichotomy of what media presents and what people really enjoy in reality.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2026. If you're building out your kit right now and you're, your age or older, you fucked up. You should have done that a while ago. You should be ready to go. But I love stupid stuff. I don't buy anything because it's super practical anymore. I have no disillusion that I'm going to be fighting blue helmets off in a last stand anytime soon. I buy fun, dumb stuff.
Yes, fun, dumb stuff is what keeps us going in this hellscape. Is there anything closing out? Thank you for coming on. We had a great time. We had so much fun. I was wired the rest of the day thinking what we were going to talk about, and just it was awesome. It was a really enjoyable time. I encourage people to go to their local gun shows. Closing out, is there anything you want to see at gun shows in the future? Like, what do you want to see more of? We kind of talked a bit about it, but what do you personally want to see more of?
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, and this will come with time. I'd like to just see the younger generations being more involved. Like your standard gun show vendor or attendee is probably 35 to 75, 85, something like that. That's more.
Most of the young people we saw were like with their grandparents, helping them out. Like,
yeah.
As far as young vendors, like the beef jerky guy was kind of young, maybe like in between our ages. Like, but there wasn't like a ton of young vendors or any young vendors at all, really.
Right, and I know there's massive amounts of, people that are much younger than me. They're around your age or younger than you that are manufacturers and designers and do all this stuff. But and I mean, some of them don't have time for gun shows, but for those that do, it'd be cool to see the younger folks getting out there. You don't see a lot of, different representation out there. I get it. Sounds like the stupid woke concept for some of the people that are listening, but I mean, it's cool to see different people out there.
No, definitely.
And
I 100% echo the sentiment of both of those. I want to see younger people out. And honestly, like we talked about, like I've considered taking that initiative for the 3D printed gun stuff just because, like, if you think about it, for a weekend, even $100, right? Like if that's what your gun show's running, that's how much going out on a weekend costs sometimes, right? Like that's how much drinking and getting dinner and whatever it may be. And you're going to get a chance to talk to so many different gun owners. You're going to get a chance to see so many different guns, see a bunch of cool knives, some katanas, some weird Temu meme patches, everything we've talked about today. And I really think like these are such fun events, and events we kind of take for granted, particularly like in an area that's extremely pro-gun. Like, This isn't something people get to do everywhere. Not to be like, wow, woke. We're actually woking up this episode right now, 50 minutes in. We're going woke. But we want to see those different people and interacting with so many different people that love guns. And I want these spaces to feel welcoming to people. Like, and I want us to appreciate that we can do this. Because, in particular, like this episode coming out recently, Joseph the Parrot, and I'll be posting the info as soon as a GoFundMe or legal funds is available to post. I will be posting that. In our like time zone, essentially, just hundreds of miles south, you go to jail for this. Like, not even that. It may be your next state over. You go to jail for this, for even bringing a gun out in public. Like, it. As the anti-gun push continues, these are things we can't cede to me. As silly as it sounds, gun shows are an integral part to expressing that freedom and just being able to like talk about guns, go see guns. And so I just want to encourage people to support these. Like, are you going to see a lot of bullshit? Yeah, probably. Are you going to get stuck talking to some boomers? Inevitably.
Of course.
But it's a small cost to pay for having that freedom to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to drum up, support for whatever it is, be it your business or your 3D hobby, whatever it is, you're gonna need to network, especially everybody in the 3D space. I mean, they're going after just owning printers and files and all this other stuff. You're gonna need the votes. I fucking hate saying that. But yeah, it's how it fucking works. You're gonna need that support. So
definitely, and even from a cultural angle, like I hate saying the votes too, but even from a cultural like winning it right angle, reducing the amount of people that think 3D printed guns are gonna blow up, reducing the amount of people that think they're scary, getting these kids out of jail and into STEM programs. Like, there's recently an 18-year-old in California who's was found 3D printing guns. He had a couple guns not even fully assembled, and he's gonna go to jail for probably until he's 30 or something. Like,
that's crazy.
It's disgusting, and those are the people that are encroaching on this. You mentioned 3D printers. We are in a cultural now we're in the woke. We've reverted from woke. Now we're on to Alex Jones. This is cultural warfare. This is cultural warfare. We cannot give up. We have to fight. No, but really, it when you're ceding ground and letting other people control the conversation, things like gun shows go away. Things like 3D printers, you can't have them. CNC machines, files, all of it. So, not to be like this, everything's connected, butterfly effect type of shit, but be the change you want to see. I encourage everyone to go out. If you go to a gun show, post it. If you find some funny stuff at a gun show, post it. People love the memes. People love seeing silly shit. If you find a cool vendor that makes stuff online, post them. People may want to buy from them. And that's how we make the change. But again, hey, thanks for coming with me, man. I really appreciate it. I had a great time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was awesome.
And we will, I can see us doing one of these in the future for sure, just to kind of see like the differences and compare. Because not only is every gun show going to be different, you're going to see a lot of the same vendors, particularly in the same area, but specifically the guys that have the 12 guns and have the really interesting stuff, the individual tables, they may go to a couple a year, or maybe one in this region and then another in another region. Maybe they're in between areas. So definitely, again, people check them out. Also, go follow Trash. He makes really funny memes. At Panic Vandal, is that the current at?
No, it's Sit Back and Panic.
Oh, Sit Back and Panic. I pulled an old one. The man of many bands. Sit Back and Panic. He makes a ton of funny memes about 3D printed guns, but also guns in general. He loves seeing cool stuff. As always, if you see cool, fun stuff, if you print cool, fun stuff, tag me, tag him. We'll love to see it. And we will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.